Welcome to the Carolina Justice Report. I'm Rainey with the Lovely Law Firm. Today I'm here with attorneys Sarah Austin and Amy Lawrence, and we are going back into the Murdaugh murders with a new update. So this is our fourth Murdaugh murder update. So if you have not seen the other ones, make sure you go back and watch. There's lots of background information there. But the last time that we chatted, it was kind of after Corey Fleming had just been indicted for all of his charges. And, so now there's some new stuff coming out with him. He's kind of releasing a lot of different text messages and letters from Alex Murdaugh, that I guess he was sending from rehab? I don't know. So what do we know what those said, and why is he letting everybody see those now?
Well, from what we understand, he has a bar license in Georgia. And while in South Carolina, we're not privy to any of that information with the bar. Here in Georgia, I'm guessing that you are. And so through a FOIA, they've received a letter that Corey Fleming sent on behalf of himself, asking for mercy and for them not to take his license.
Yeah, so from what I understand, Corey Fleming's law license has been suspended, obviously, in South Carolina and Georgia. And I guess he's trying to get his Georgia law license back, which is common. You hire a lawyer and you go through the system to try to get your license back. And he included some letters from Alec with his plea to the Georgia bar to get his law license
He's
back.
essentially saying, I'm a victim too. I got hoodwinked.
I didn't read the letters. Have you read
I read some of them, yeah. Some of it.
I was reading some of the text, and it was just, because they were explaining how close they were and that he was, hoodwinked as well and didn't know anything was happening. And so, some of them, I think they were sent from rehab, but it was like Alex was saying, oh, I know you won't talk to me right now, but I hope one day that we can talk again and you can forgive me. I know I've done some horrible things and I regret that, and I regret bringing you and your family into this, and I'm sorry. So I think that Corey is kind of showing this, saying, see, like I didn't know anything.
Yeah, but that's bullshit.
I was going to say, you don't believe him, right?
And the reason why it is bullshit, and we know this, and we've talked about this before, is that he was writing checks to Forge and sending them to a Hampton County P.O. box.
Well, I just think with the Satterfield stuff too, for Corey Fleming, who practices this kind of law, what was described happened during that settlement approval was just so crazy and not common. And any lawyer would walk into that room and be like, why aren't we doing what we normally do? What the hell's going on here? And so for him just to pretend like he didn't know what was going on was just
and
kind of unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I mean, he was writing checks to Forge. He, instead of talking to his client, was talking to the defendant. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, it was just...
He was doing things that were so unconventional.
Do you think that there's any chance that maybe he was just naive to it all because he had been so close with Alex?
I don't think so.
I think that our law clerk would have known that something was wrong.
I think my 11-year-old would know something was wrong.
Yeah, it was that wrong.
Granted, he's got two parents for lawyers, but I think my 11-year-old, who's very smart, would have said something ain't right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
No, I'd hold him 100% accountable.
Okay. So we're still kind of waiting on what's going to happen with Corey Fleming. His story is ever evolving. But some other, unique things have come out through this process, one of them being Parker's Kitchen. So this goes back to the boating accident, right?
So Beach case.
What is Parker's Kitchen, and how does that play a role into this?
Go ahead.
I thought they were the convenience store that sold Paul the alcohol the night of the boating accident.
Yeah.
And I think they've got him on surveillance video using a fake ID and buying the alcohol there with no consequence. It was easy. So I was surprised to find out that they hired an investigator to follow Paul around for so long. Because in my eyes, their liability is pretty clear. They're on the hook. They could have wrote a check and got out of this a long time ago.
Well, and that's new information, right? That we're just finding out now that they hired a private investigator to follow Paul, right?
Yeah, and they gave the videos to SLED. I guess they have Paul at Moselle at least 3 days before the murder. They've got the entryway to Moselle where the murders happened. And so it's possible that they've got the day of the murder who's coming in and who's going out, which would be huge.
Yeah.
Which also was a red flag. So I was like, why has it taken so long
that's kind
for
of
these
fishy.
videos to be turned over to SLED?
And what also, this investigator was buying alcohol for Paul.
Which makes no sense. It's almost like he's trying to
Like,
stage it.
Like, that doesn't take away your liability, nor does it soften the blow of your liability.
Maybe
Do you
that's
know
why
what I
they
mean?
didn't turn it in, was because he was buying the alcohol for Paul.
Well, one of the things we realized when we were reading some of the articles and the stuff submitted to the court is Mallard Beach's family's attorney hired an ethics counsel, who is a guy named Mike Verzi, who is extremely well known and respected in the ethical community, and worked for
This is legal ethics.
Legal ethics,
Right.
the bar, right?
Right.
It's who he used to be a part of the Office of Disciplinary Counsel, which is who investigates and makes recommendations for your bar license to the Supreme Court. And he submits these affidavits, and he says what Parker's attorneys and Parker's investigator did was completely unethical. And now since then, we've seen this huge shakeup where they've cleaned house, gotten rid of all their attorneys, and brought in a whole new team. And this whole new team of lawyers are mainly known for doing medical malpractice. And people think that's really weird. It doesn't really bother me so much because defense attorneys are defense attorneys are defense attorneys, and you're either good at defending something or not. It doesn't.
Is that why he got rid
huge-
of? They got rid of the last.
I think that has to play a part of it. Because
It was not. I didn't even raise my eyebrows at Parker's getting a new lawyers. That happens all the time,
Yeah.
especially if you're old lawyers. I guess as a plaintiff's lawyer, we'll be in a case for so long, and then
We have
things
a case
start
right
going
now.
well for us.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we get new defense attorneys, and sometimes I don't know for sure. I've never worked on that side. John could probably speak more to that. But if those defense attorneys are saying, Parker's, you're liable, you should probably settle. You should not have hired this investigator to buy Paul, an underage kid, alcohol. That's not helping you. Let's talk about settling and getting out of this. And they don't like that answer. They can easily fire their counsel.
Gotcha.
And hire somebody else who will come in
we see that a lot, yeah.
and, still put up the front, which I don't understand why I don't understand why they even hired an investigator to follow Paul to begin with.
Right.
Because
Horrible
they're
news.
being accused of, dram shop serving alcohol to minors, over serving minors, and then they got drunk and caused this horrible boating accident. And so I don't understand what following Paul would have done for them, or what buying him alcohol would have done for their case,
Right,
which
yeah.
is just so kind of crazy. Like, why did they even do it? And now they're going to be wrapped up in a murder investigation, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
When life gets ugly, justice is lovely, the lovely Lord.